It's a blowout. 8th inning, 10-3. Bases are loaded for Verlander, who waits on a 3-0 pitch. He swings, and it's a high fly ball. Deep center field. It is gone. Home run. And a huge bat flip to celebrate. All right, Ben, start the show already.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Flippin Bats, and we have a great guest for you today. About to join me, shortstop, rookie sensation for the Houston Astros, Jeremy Peña. We're going to talk about his career to this point, how he got to the big leagues, and some of his best moments from this year. Playing in Fenway Park, walk-off home run against the Blue Jays, and a funny experience he had with my brother Justin early on in the year. But I can't wait to get to all that. He has been killing it this year, so let's bring him on in now. Let's welcome in rookie sensation, Jeremy Peña. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. So, hey, I want to go back and start at the beginning. The beginning for you and your life, pretty much. You move at a young age from the Dominican to Providence, Rhode Island. What was that transition like for you? I mean, that's a pretty massive life change at a young age.
I mean, it was the change was drastic. It was big change from the food to the code to the culture.
The cold, true.
I mean, it was tough. It was tough. You know, you can't really go outside and make friends because you didn't speak English. So it was
true.
Just baseball, and then back to the house.
What was the change like for you in terms of the baseball scene? Like, I'm assuming at that point you were already playing baseball, and you go from a kid playing in the Dominican to America and playing in Providence. What was the change in baseball scenes like?
I felt like younger kids in the Dominican Republic took the game a little bit more serious. Mm-hmm. So when I came to the United States, probably 9, 10 years old, felt like kids were just going to the ballpark to, just spend time with their friends, have fun. But the Dominican, you got 9 and 10-year-olds going to the ballpark thinking about being professional baseball players already, because that's all we know in the island, And then it's funny because my first tryout, mm-hmm. I get there and they put me at first base. And I'm like, man, I don't play first base. Like I play shortstop. Like, and I didn't know how to communicate that to the coach because I didn't speak English. So I played first base my first season.
That's great. Did you play with were you playing with anybody in the DR that ended up becoming a big leaguer or that people would know?
I did not. My friends, when I was 9, 10 years old, a couple of them signed, but they got released pretty early in their career. But when I was 13, 14, I would always, got a couple practices in with Gregory Polanco and Starling Marte.
Oh,
my
cool.
cousin was a shortstop in the summer league over there, so I would go to all his games, and I got to hang out with all those guys, and it was pretty cool.
That's cool. So now, you end up in Providence, and your dad was a former big leaguer himself and played 6 years in the majors with, the Cardinals, with the Indians at the time, and had a good career. What have you learned from your dad throughout this process of you playing baseball and coming up and getting drafted and then playing Major League Baseball? What have you learned in your baseball career from your dad?
I feel like with my dad, thanks to my dad, I've always had like a step ahead with the experiences that I was going to go through because, going into pro ball my first year, he would pretty much told me what to expect and what mentality I had to go in with and how to deal with the struggles because they're going to come. It's baseball. Baseball is hard, and how to stay level, good days, bad days, how to show up the next day and, compete. And I always felt like he's always been a big help. Not a lot of people have their mentor and their idol, someone they look up to inside their house.
Yeah.
And he's always a call away, and it's a big help.
That's really cool. Was he always? I always wonder this with dads that played at the highest level and then they have a kid that's playing. Was your dad like a very hands-on approach in Little League, or was he kind of, let me just sit back and let my son do his thing? I'm surprised he didn't say, hey, my son's a shortstop. Don't put him at first base.
I felt like early when I was younger, we would practice a lot. You know, he'll take me to the park and hit me ground balls, you know, throw me BP. And then as I kind of got into college, he kind of, you know, backed away a little bit and just let me forge my own path. And, you know, he's great. He's never really put pressure on me to be a big leaguer. You know, he always told me, hey, just work hard, have fun, and enjoy this thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful career.
So I do want to talk about your career a little bit leading up to where you are now. You know, in 2019, you participate in the Arizona Fall League, and you struggled a bit there. It didn't go great. Your career to that point had gone well in the minor leagues, and then you play in the Arizona Fall League. It doesn't go great. Then COVID hits, and there's no season, no minor league season. So your next move was to play in the Dominican Winter League, where you killed it. How cool was it, one, playing back where it all started for you, but two, what did you take from the struggles in the Arizona Fall League to then having success in the Dominican Winter League with a bunch of big leaguers, former big leaguers? The competition there is great as well. So what was the difference for you from where you struggled to finding success?
I would say it was that off season. You know, after the Fall League, I did have an opportunity to play winter ball in the Dominican. They actually called me to join the ball club, and that's the most baseball I had ever played. You know, I played low A, high A, Arizona Fall League that year, and I was drained. You know, and you know, that off season, I took upon me to get my body right. You know, to play a whole year. You know, get my body ready, my mind ready to play a whole year. Spring training, I got to join some of the big league guys. You know, I talked to them, and I felt like that gave me a lot of confidence. You know, we didn't play that year, but still, when the season got canceled and, you know, we all went our separate ways, you know, I remembered I learned from those guys, you know, worked on the things they told me to work on, and that gave me a lot of confidence going into the winter ball.
Yeah. So the tricky thing about the Astros organization for you at the time was one of the best shortstops in baseball, if not the best shortstop in baseball, was there ahead of you. Was there ever talks or conversations amongst yourself and the brass of the organization to move positions at any point? Or was it always, you're going to play shortstop until something changes?
So my focus was never on who was ahead of me or who was playing shortstop in front of me. It was always just about improving every single day. You know, one of the things my dad told me, and I'll bring it back to my dad, is, you know, whatever level you're in, whatever level you're at, just control what you can control. And that's your preparation. You know, just prepare as best as possible for that day, for that game. You know, play hard and then do it again tomorrow. Don't try to focus on things you can't control. You know, I couldn't control the organization making moves and moving players, and, you know, that'll just drive me nuts. You know, so the focus was just you know, have fun with the guys wherever level you were at, and, you know, play hard.
So you didn't end up playing that year, obviously, because the minor league season got canceled, but you got to be in spring and you got to be around a bunch of the guys, and that was big for you in your career moving forward. But at the time when Correa was still there, what are some of the things that you learned from him, being, you know, having him at shortstop, the same position you're playing, you're there in spring training? What are some of the things you learned from him being around him?
I mean, Carlos Correa was great to me. He was a tremendous help. He was a mentor to me. Like I said, he pulled me aside one day, you know, and in spring training, we went to catch ground balls. He brought me with him, and we were just chatting it up. You know, I started just talking about life, getting to know each other, and where you from, where do you sign, blah, 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 your girlfriend, how's the family, you know? And then we started talking baseball. He just told me, hey, just do the little things right, you know, focus on the details and practice, you know, take care of the ball, good throws, because it translates to the game, you know, in the batting cages. You know, focus on the little details, you know, try to square up every single ball, because that lowers your margin of error in the game. You know, your body forgets how to not do it. So, yeah, just focusing on the details.
He has said that post-World Series, you know, the Astros' last World Series game ends, and he has said that shortly after heading into that offseason, he reached out to you and said that in all likelihood, this position is yours. The future of the Houston Astros at shortstop is yours. How important to you was that conversation to kind of just put your mind at ease? Because nobody knew what was going to happen in that offseason, but for him to reach out to you, how important was that?
I mean, it shows who he is as a person, you know, because, you know, he didn't have to do that. You know, he could have kept that to himself. And yeah, he reached out to me. He told me, hey, go to winter ball, do what you have to do, get ready, and come ready next year to compete for a position, because I think you're going to be the man on this team. So, you know, I took that with me to winter ball, worked on the little things, and showed up ready to compete in spring training.
And that you have, you know, this season has been awesome. And look, if anybody in the world understands having big shoes to fill, it's me as well, you know. And I wasn't able to do it, and I wasn't able to make it to the highest level and have that success. You know, I made it, you know, played 5 years professionally in the minors, but didn't get to the level you're at. Now you're there. This season starts. Obviously, whether it's on your mind or not, there's big shoes to fill, and you've been doing incredible. And you've been playing well at the plate. You've been playing good defense. Was that something on your mind to start the season? Was there any added pressure, you know, in spring training to start the season? Like, man, I need to get off to a good start. Or was it truly and honestly not a thought in your mind?
I'm going to be honest with you, probably in spring training, I thought about it a little bit more than I did when the season started. I feel like the players did a great job of coming up to me and telling me that I had nothing to prove, just be myself, you know, play your game. You know, you are Jeremy Peña. And yeah, that gave me a lot of confidence. You know, these guys showed that, the players around me, they showed that they believed in me, and they believed that I was going to be a key piece to this team. So yeah, that gave me a lot of confidence.
There's a lot of leaders on this Astros team. There's a lot of all-stars, reigning AL batting champions, and MVP. This lineup that you're a part of is riddled with superstars. Is there anyone that this year has sort of taken you under their wing and just, you know, helped mentor you throughout this season and give you some tips along the way?
They all have.
Oh, that's cool.
They all have in their own ways. You know, some of them I talk, you know, more about approach. Some of them I talk mechanics. Some of them I talk fielding. You know, but they all, you know, put in their grain of salt into me. You know, and cool. It's awesome. It's awesome. I feel like I can go up to any player and ask them for advice, and I know I'm gonna get a genuine response.
What is the best, to this point in the year, the best piece of advice that you've gotten that you think about and take with you every day?
Jose Altuve, first day in Anaheim, he said, "This is a marathon, not a sprint." You know, so just show up the next day and put the work in. So I take that with me.
Well, you know, you started yes, it's a marathon and it's been going well, but if it was a sprint, you would be winning as well, because that game in Anaheim that I was there for, you got your first hit, your first home run, your first 3-hit game, and probably the best part of that game for you was that you got to talk to me after on the field. I'm sure looking back, that was your favorite part. But how cool was that night? Looking back on it, now that it's done, it's over with, you got your first hit, your first home run. When you look back on that night in Anaheim that all that happened, what do you think about? What are the memories that you'll hold close to you?
I mean, it was surreal, the way everything just unfolded that night, you know, from the first hit to the first home run to, you know, 3 hits. And then to top it all, my parents were being interviewed when I hit my first home run.
Crazy.
And now I have that video that I could just watch at any time, you know. And it gets me in a good mood. You know, it was awesome. You can't write that to anybody.
Yeah. How cool was that moment after the game? You got off the field, you get dressed, the game ends, then you finally get to see your family. How awesome was that, man? How cool was that conversation when you finally got to talk to them?
I mean, it's a moment I'll remember for the rest of my life. I mean, my family was there, you know, friends from back home were there, and it was awesome. And it was that's when I felt like I was there. You know, it was when I got my first hit. That's when I was like, damn, this is real.
When you end up you move on, the Astros, you know, win that series, the season's off and running, and then not too long ago, you guys got to play at Fenway Park, which is close to home for you. Quite literally, it is close to home. Night one, night two, you're playing. What does that pass list look like for you? How many family tickets do you having to get at Fenway Park?
Believe it or not, the first day, the day I did not play,
Yeah.
we had 110 people there at the stadium. And I didn't leave any tickets. Like, they all got their own tickets, you know. They bought the tickets like a month ahead, or because they knew we were coming up, and it was awesome. The second day we had probably like around 40 people, and that's the game I played, and it was awesome. It was awesome to see the familiar faces from high school, you know, friends you haven't talked to since, and it was pretty cool.
So before we move on, and I have to say this because a lot of people probably don't know this, big leaguers have to pay for the tickets they leave. You still have to pay for the taxes on the tickets. So you didn't leave tickets because if you're leaving 100, your entire big league check for the year is going to be wiped out.
I'll be playing for free.
You'd be playing for free. Hey, how is this possible? And I was wondering this, hearing that. So you grew up not far from Fenway, but is it true that your family hadn't been to a game at Fenway Park before?
No, and believe it or not, I went to my first Red Sox game in 2018 when
How is that possible?
The Astros were playing the Red Sox in the playoffs, and that was my first year in pro ball, and I went after the season, and but yeah, we never did. We always went to the AAA, you know, the Paw Sox. That was a big thing for us. You know, I got to watch all those guys before they went to the big leagues, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Fun fact, I was at that game. Whichever one you were at in the 2018 playoffs, Astros at Red Sox, I was there as well. So if you're going to experience Fenway for the first time, how awesome was it being there in the playoffs and the playoff atmosphere there? And when Sweet Caroline comes on, I mean, it gives me goosebumps being there.
I mean, I walked in with my Houston Astros gear, and everybody was just chirping me the whole way to my seat, you know. But, you know, I stayed strong and I kept my hat. And, yeah, we lost that game, but, you know, I stayed strong.
Yeah, you should have told him, hey, in a couple of years, I'll be hitting homers over that monster in my first game ever playing at Fenway. So that would have put them in their place. Did you end up signing? Did you go out there and sign the monster?
I did.
Did you sign next to any cool names? Like, is anybody cool around you?
Babe Ruth.
What? That's sick.
I'm gonna take that to the grave. You know, no one can tell me that's not Babe Ruth.
That's really cool. So heading into this season, you know, it's kind of an interesting one for you. You're a rookie. You had never played in the big leagues, but what were some of the goals you set yourself that you put on yourself heading into this 2022 season?
So heading into the season, I would say every season, my goal is always to stay healthy, you know, play the whole year, and then prepare for the games. You know, I don't really set number goals because I catch myself chasing. Yeah. And I start chasing numbers, and then when you don't see yourself stacking up, you kind of get down, and I don't know. So my goals are always just prepare for the game as best as possible, and I'll play hard, show up the next day, stay on the field, and, you know, do what you can to help the team.
It's funny you mentioned setting number goals because when I was in the minors, and it's not easy to not do that. You always want to have certain numbers along the way, and I would always keep that in mind and want to perform to a certain number. And that makes it tough because when you start struggling, when you go 0 for 4 and then it turns into an 0 for 8, every time you're walking up to the plate, you see the scoreboard right in front of you. You know your numbers. You see them start ticking down and down and down, and it can get in your head. It can become mental. How have you, throughout your career, dealt with that? Even though you're not numbers focused, when you start struggling, what have you done to stop it and to not let yourself get bogged down mentally? Because it was so difficult for me to do, and I wasn't good getting out of those funks.
So I was just focused on separating, separating my bats, separating pitches, separating games, separating my defense from my hitting. Always try to play a game within the game. If that day I'm 0 for 4, then I'm going on defense and someone else is going home 0 for 4 because if I didn't get a hit, I'm going to take away your hits as well. So it's, I don't know, like I always just play little games within the game, have fun with my teammates. I'm always big on, just have fun, enjoy it. This is a beautiful thing, and show up the next day and play hard.
So it's like every at bat, you're 0 for 0. It's not 0 for 3. I got to get a hit in this last at bat. It's every at bat is a new opportunity. And I know it's easy to say that and it can sound cliche, but it's not actually easy to believe that. And when you're 0 for 3 at the plate, to go up there with that same mentality that you've had the first couple of at bats and not pressing to get a hit. It's not easy, right?
Right. And it's funny you say that because a couple of years back, I don't know how long ago it was, I was in the minor leagues and Bregman had like a YouTube channel where he would go through his day and he would, just talk to the people. And he said that he always went up to the plate with the mentality that he was already 1 for 1. In most games, when you start the game 1 for 1, you end up getting one or two hits, So I thought about that, and it's true. When you go up to the plate, like you're already on top, then everything else gets a little easier.
I like that a lot because it is true. And I feel like every good game that I had professionally, it started with 1 for 1. There weren't many games where I would go 0 for 1 and then wind up with a 3-hit night. And it's not just because you start running out of at bats. It's because mentally, if I was 0 for 1, I was defeated heading into that next at bat. If I'm 1 for 1, well, then your mentality's on top of the world and nobody's going to get you out no matter what. So it's interesting. I wish maybe I need to restart my career and go back and start every game as if I'm 1 for 1, and things will turn out a little bit better. You played in did you play in Tri-City in your minor league career for the Valley Cats?
I did, my first year.
I played there many times, and there was always this guy sitting behind home plate that would just scream "Vamos Gatos" the whole game. Was he still there when you were playing?
You're still there.
That's great. So this season, man, it really has been cool, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Did you imagine the start to this year in your wildest dreams? Could you have imagined it being like this, or has this whole season for you kind of felt like a dream, like a pinch me moment, and you just want to just keep on trucking?
A little bit of both. It feels like I know what I'm capable of. I know the work I put in. I know the preparation that goes into every single game. But at the same time, you can't control results. So when, you're just playing, having fun, and you look up and then you keep putting your head down and keep focusing, then you look up. And that's the way I kind of go about it. And just have fun, play hard, and let everything else take care of itself.
Yep, I like that. So recently you guys played in Seattle, and there was a picture, I think Julio posted it on his Insta story or something. You guys were out getting a haircut together. How did that friendship come to be? When did you guys cross paths?
That's my man, Julio. We were teammates in the fall league.
Oh wow.
We were on the same team in the Arizona Fall League, and then we played against each other in winter ball. So we've kept in touch. We connected in the fall league. We kept in touch ever since, and it was pretty cool to to play against them, you know, and make our debuts the same year, and it's awesome.
So you go up to Seattle, and I know what'd y'all do? You spend the day together. You went and got a haircut. Did you go get frozen yogurt after and eat some chocolate chip ice cream? Did y'all spend that whole day together?
We kind of did. We got the
That's
haircut.
cool.
You know, we spent most of the day in the barbershop, you know, talking to the barbers and, you know, just chatting it up. And then we went to get some food. You know, we got some wings. We kept talking there, and then he dropped me off back at the hotel. So,
how cool has it been? Obviously, we know what you've been doing so far this year, but I didn't know, you guys are clearly really good friends, and it didn't start off as good for Julio, but now he's off and rolling, and we are seeing how good he is and is going to be for a long time. How fun is it watching him play, whether it be on TV or on the other side of the field when you're playing him?
I mean, there's no doubt that Julio is going to be a superstar in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he does it all. You know, he does it all, and it's fun to watch. You know, it's fun to watch. We feed off each other. You know, we push each other, and it's fun. It's fun to watch.
I was gonna say, are you competitive with each other, or are you like competing against each other throughout the year, like trying to one up each other?
Not really one up, you know, but we you know, if we need something from one another, we'll call each other up and ask for, you know, advice or whatever it may be. You know, it doesn't have to be baseball related, you know, it could be life. You know, it's cool to have something like that.
Earlier this year, not too long ago, you hit a walk-off home run against the Toronto Blue Jays. How cool was that, man? How awesome was that moment?
I mean, it's probably my debut, and then the walk-off right under it. You know, it was a great moment. And it was a blur. It was a blur at the moment when I hit it. You know, I didn't know the ball was over the fence. That's why I was running so hard. I was thinking inside the park from the jump, and then it went over the fence, and it was when my teammates greeted me at home plate. It was awesome.
Had you ever had one before? Had you at any level hit a walk-off home run?
So my first walk-off home run was last year in AAA, Sugarland.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a game of first as well. That was my first multi-hit homer game.
Oh, wow.
And that was my first walk-off homer game. So before that, I had never hit a walk-off in my life. So that was pretty cool.
That's crazy. So you finally, the ball goes out. You realize it goes out. That jog around the bases from the moment you knew it went out and seeing your teammates come home and greet you there and just wait for you. How special was that, 10 seconds of in-between time? Like, were you able in the moment to kind of soak it in and appreciate what was happening?
Not really. I was running way too fast. That's what they told me. They're like, hey, you got to give us time to get to home plate. You know, by the time I got to home plate, the whole team wasn't there because I got there so quick. It's funny because if you look up the video last year when I hit the walk-off home run in AAA, it was the same thing, probably a little bit faster. And there were probably two teammates at home plate waiting for me. And then everyone else just came like, yo, you ran to home plate way too fast. Like, you got to give us more time to get out the dugout. But it was awesome. I still got the pictures, and that's pretty cool.
That is really cool. You got to get that framed and put it in your house and have that forever. That's awesome.
Sure.
How special is this Houston Astros team that you are now a part of? Because, you know, you see good teams, you see teams be good for a year or two. There's something different going on with this Houston Astros team. They've been to 5 consecutive AL championship series, multiple World Series, and the team is elite again this year. And now you get to be a part of it. How special is this team and this organization?
For sure. I always say I'm blessed to be here, but I'm also blessed to be part of this team and what the team has been doing in the past years. I mean, this team is special. You know, it's fun to show up every single day with a team that expects to win. And we expect to win every time we step on the field. And yeah, we expect greatness, and we want to be part of that.
All right, I got few fun questions for you before we wrap up. The first of which would be, excluding Houston, taking out Minute Maid Park, what has been so far your favorite stadium to play in?
Oof. I'm a big fan of Seattle. I'm a big fan of the Seattle and their stadium, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Those are two of my favorite right now.
It's wild, man. I feel like 75% of the people that I have on this show, and my brother as well, has said that Safeco, or formerly Safeco, now T-Mobile in Seattle, is one of his favorite places to play. What is it about it? Is it just like how nice it is, the amenities, or like what is it about Seattle?
I felt like the fans were pretty into it. The playing surface, it was a little cold, so it gives it that little character. And I like it. I like it.
So far, who has been the toughest pitcher that you have faced? And it might not even be a big leaguer yet. It could have been a guy in the minor leagues. In your life, who's been the toughest pitcher that you've ever faced?
Framber Valdez.
When did you, spring training?
Yeah, I faced him COVID year. So the year we didn't have a season, I got a couple live ABs against Framber, and he made me look foolish. And he still holds that against me to this day. So I have to face him a couple more times.
The cool part about that is he makes a lot of people look foolish. So you can't take that one too personal. All right, so a follow-up question on toughest pitcher you've faced. Is there a pitcher out there that you can't wait to face? Somebody you can't wait to step in the box against in your career?
Framber Valdez. I need to get Framber before I leave this baseball season. I want to face Framber.
That's funny. Hey, but once you get Framber, then you're never going to want to face him again. My brother, I have faced him one time in my entire life. I'm 1-for-1 with a homer, and I will never face him again in my entire life. I promise you that.
That's a good way to go out. That's a good way to go out.
How cool was it for you? And obviously, Framber's the answer for you on both sides of this, but your first big league game, you got to face Shohei Ohtani, who we will forever remember. When all is said and done and we're old and gray, we're going to remember what Shohei is doing right now. And we'll remember that forever. How cool was it facing him and your debut? And I guess also how nasty is he on the mound?
I mean, his stuff speaks for itself. That guy's gross, not just what he's doing. I mean, he's not just pitching and hitting. He's doing both at an elite level, superstar level, which is, you don't see that. You don't see that. So facing Shohei in my debut, it was like I was already in a surreal state.
Right?
Yeah. Just being there. And then you see Shohei on the mound, and it's like it just adds to that. And it was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome.
That's cool. You can't even get the experience of just, all right, my first at bat, I got jitters. Oh my God, this is crazy. You have to look up and see Shohei Ohtani out on the mound. And you're like, okay, well, what is my life? That had to be the thought going through. What is life right now?
Man, it was like hey, welcome to the show, kid.
That's great. All right, if you could put together the ultimate BP group with you and 4 others, so a group of 5, who would it be? It could be your best friends. It could be some of the greatest players of all time. It could be guys you think are funny. But if you could put together your ultimate BP group that you get to be a part of, who would the other 4 guys be?
Ultimate BP group. Oof. From the jump, Manny Ramirez, my favorite swing. That's one of my favorite players growing up. So he's definitely in that group. Oof. Ichiro Suzuki.
Love that.
I mean, that guy hits. You know, that guy. So, who else?
You could put your boy J-Rod in there.
I feel like J-Rod would bring, he'll bring character into the group. He'll bring the vibes to the group.
Wait, follow-up question while you think of the last person in this group. I was recently talking to Ty France on the Mariners, and when I asked him about Julio, he said, I need you to come and be his babysitter. So what's going on with Julio that he needs a babysitter? Is that just his personality? He just has a lot of fun and just plays the game loose and is a character?
He's just a fun guy. And Julio's a fun guy. You got to give it to him. But when he steps on the field, like as you've seen, he plays hard.
Yeah.
He knows how to have fun, but he knows how to play hard at the same time. He doesn't take this game for granted.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes him so good, because he plays loose, but at the same time he plays hard. So
absolutely,
I think that's why he's so good.
There's something to be said about being able to play loose, but then like turn it on as well. It's when you get all tensed up, it's the worst. It's the worst feeling. All right, you've had your time. You got one final name in your BP group. Who are you going with?
One final name in the BP group. I'm going with probably Mike Trout. I'll put Mike Trout in that group.
That's a good answer. Sure. You can't go wrong. Mike Trout's on my Mount Rushmore of baseball when all is said and done. So imagine that. So your first game in the big leagues, your first series, you get to go against Mike Trout, who obviously is going to be one of the greatest of all time, and Shohei Ohtani, who is doing things that we have never seen before. Did you get to talk to Trout when you were warming up in the outfield running? Did you get to talk to him at all that series?
So I got to talk to him when he got to second base. He just told me, hey, welcome, and have fun, play hard, welcome to the show, and it was pretty cool. He's bigger in person.
Really? Big, just thick.
He's thick. He's strong, man. It was cool. Same thing with Ohtani. Ohtani is a big dude.
I know. But I got to meet him at the All-Star game last year, and you don't realize how tall and how he's massive. He's larger than life. All right, so that's pretty legit. You got Julio, Mike Trout, Ichiro, Manny Ramirez, Jeremy Peña. That's a pretty cool BP group.
For sure. That'll be a good vibe. A lot of homers and good vibes.
Who's got the most pop in that? You got more pop than anybody in that group?
See, the thing is, I can't compare myself to those guys. The only person I can compare myself to there is Julio. You can't really put your name with those other guys. So.
You mean you don't want to say you have more pop than Manny Ramirez or Mike Trout?
You can't say it. So.
Jeremy, this has been a blast, man. One final question for you, and I like asking guys this because you've made it, man. Your lifelong dream of making it to the major leagues, you've accomplished. If you could have a word or a statement of advice for kids coming up playing this game, for people that want to get to where you are right now, what would that advice be?
So what I would tell them is, don't expect immediate results. Just work hard, and don't work hard expecting results for tomorrow. Play for the long run. Just put your head down, work hard, and when you look up, you're gonna be where you want to be. So don't fall in love with immediate results, because that's a trap. That's not real. That does not happen.
That's awesome, man. Hey, wait, one more before we wrap up. I just thought about this. So my brother is back, 39 years old, comes back from Tommy John. Everybody knows how intense he gets on game days. You got any stories for me? You're playing shortstop, Justin's on the mound, you're scared to even look at him a certain way. Any funny stories?
So I had that experience before we even got on the field together. My first day of spring training this year, I'm getting COVID tested. and he's there as well, waiting for his results. You know, we kind of just sit next to each other. We're the only ones there. And he just started asking me all these questions, like trying to know who I am, you know, like trying to see where my head was at. And I was so nervous. Like, you know, I didn't know how to reply to him, but he said, you know, I answered some of the questions right, and he was excited to play alongside with me and work towards the same goal, which was winning. So it was pretty cool.
So who's the tougher Verlander brother interview, me or him?
Him for sure.
I hope this isn't near as intense as that one. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me, man. This has been a blast. I'm a big fan of you and your game, so keep killing it this year. Good luck the rest of the way, and come back on whenever you want. You're forever a friend of Flippin Bats Pod, so thanks for hopping on, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Of course, man. See ya. All right, I wanted to thank Jeremy Peña for joining me. What a blast of a conversation, and kudos to him for absolutely killing it this year when he had some big shoes to fill heading into this season. But thanks again for joining me, and thanks to all of you guys for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, wherever you listen to your podcast. Rate it 5 stars. That really helps as well. We're also on all social media at Flippin Bats Pod, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and every episode you can watch the video on YouTube as well. But thank you all. I will see you on Thursday for a live episode of Flippin Bats. Until then, peace out, my friends.